We're going to be looking at what is in your path, what is in your way, who or what it is that is standing in your pathway, directly connected to you or even indirectly. The nature of these readings may vastly be different because they are deeply connected into what or who is, could be even a thing, a situation, place or person. This is the Arcana Veil. Let's have a look for you. We have the Sustainer, Sustainable, Heal. This one wanted to come out. Introspect, Sun, Future. From what I can pick up, there seems to be a focus on trying to, I hear the word acquiesce. It could be something important to someone, may mean something to you in terms of what you're trying to bring into an awareness for yourself. For others of you, I'm picking up that there's some people that are, some of you are struggling to deal with certain situations at work. There's some issues going on around there. It's caused a lot of distraction for your inner state of knowing, feeling a little bit impacted by it. Some others of you, I'm picking up that there's definitely a nurturing need to want to need to heal. Obviously, it's pretty self-evident here. There's also a searching to try and have the introspection, to go into the cave of the deeper nature of the self, to find the reality with which you try to meet yourself. I always see that my cards are always okay. Others of you, I'm seeing that there's a direction which you're going to be taking. I'm picking up there's travel, there's could be local travels, there's investigations around that, looking how to plan your trip. For others of you, there's a focus on trying to collaborate with certain people, and those situations are based on the merits of what they deliver, how they deliver for you what you need. There is a deeper hunger for knowledge, to grow in the self. There is also an energetic frequency that impacts everyone at this point in time, where there's a need to know, will my life be different based on all of the XYZ profits that I've looked at. Profits can be money, or people that say things and you don't know if it always comes true. Sometimes the deepest message comes through you, which kind of is very much stating the obvious. However, what I'd like to say is for the most, the nature in which the reality operates, it seems to seek already a preformed pattern in order to stitch the clothing or make the map accordingly to. And this pattern is one that you have to patent inside of yourself. We're going to see how this goes for you. The pattern maker is inside of you. You are the one that makes the pattern. You seek a certain direction to flow towards, and that which is around you seeks to magnetically attach to that path. We have strength here. We have the Eight of Wands, 8-8. We have spirited forces in the introspect, which kind of coincides with the process. We have solidifying coagulation, which is an alchemical process, and we have Knight of Wands. Under the deck we have the King of Coins, the King of Pentacles. We'll place him there. The nature of this journey requires obviously a lot of strength, but there's also a lot of elements that seem to be coming into from outside that is making you feel like you have to grit yourself, to grit your teeth, to buckle down. There's a lot of word salads that have been playing around that's forcing the you to become impacted by these things around you. And this is not directed at you per se, but it is directed at that how you are receiving the information from, the sources, the places that sell cheap patterns to focus on. However, within the nature of this whole process, there's hope, because within this nature you are being given a lot of guidance excuse me, that leads you to a steadfast healing. So healing is approaching while you are observing the nature in which you create and discard old patterns. Some of you could actually be patenting something. That's just something that's there too. At the heart of the nature, there is a situation that requires a lot more perspective in terms of looking for that direction, the one that you seek, that is your own. And yet you've noticed that there's a lot of things that seem to be coming around that seem to feel like they just feel a little more supernatural than maybe it's allotted to you, maybe you feel you wish to have or not to have. And these may be people thinking that about you. Excuse me. And so what I'm saying here is what I'm picking up is some of you are going through a process where you are redesigning your life path, and you are moving away from things that used to hold a specific potency to it. You've discarded most of these pattern makers that sell you cheap by the dozen. $1 for a dozen is what I'm hearing, to dole out. There's also a solidifying aspect or principle process that seems to be happening when you are illuminated, perhaps in realizing that you are your own pattern maker. Excuse me. This may make you feel as if you are unable to express, such as obviously me clearing my throat all the time, because there's not a lot of communication that seems to take place, except there's only correspondence within the inner nature with itself. There is a correspondence between what I find within myself here in my mind and how I'm dealing with that relationship that I've had to process. They never picked up their socks. They never did. They made you feel like you worked more than they did. The thing was imbalanced. That's a side story that seems to be coming through as well for someone. There is a focus on the future, though. However, many of you are seeking to bring in a new perspective, realization for yourselves in implementing that pathway that will take you to a much greater journey. I mean, there is the future focus here, future looking brightly for you. There's the King of Coins showing that it's there. However, you would need to cement this pattern in your thoughts. And what does the pattern look like? The pattern is whatever you decide to write down on a piece of paper and to look at every day, to actually affirm it in that way. That is really how it works. I mean, if we could really go to the bare bones of manifestation, which sounds like infestation to me. So I always use the word creative, creator, creating, because that's what it's supposed to be, is to create things, because we are meant to create. I'm seeing that there's also a lot of focus on needing to nurture an understanding of the self and how to actualize your thoughts. There is a lot of external influence that seem to be penetrating your consciousness. So there's a lot of things, even if you're not listening to a lot of stuff, there's a lot of interference that seem to come through. And the focus should need to be mindful what the nature is of the interference, because as much as the reality is moving into a state of Aquarian resonance, there's a lot of things that come with the water that is given a lot of momentum. Now Aquarius is not the zodiac, but the alchemical process of taking out of air and turning it into water. That is the alchemical process. In other words, your mind needs to go through that process, and then it has to transmute the thoughts into what you feel. And so this is why in the readings, excuse me, my gosh, okay. In the readings, it is being explained in just the way that you see it. You don't really understand the full process here. Maybe some of you do, some don't. Although I know I'm picking up on a very switched on audience that seem to draw this particular wisdom through the readings. And this is why these readings are so unique. It's the supporters, the people that are invested in themselves, that bring that energy into the readings. It is not dictated by me. I am just the interpreter of the message for you. We have the 10 of Cups here under the 8 of under Strength. We have Termite Spirit under the 8 of Wands. We have King of Cups under the Spirited Forces. Can you see them? You can't. No, you can. I'll pull them up a little like that. We have the Serpent Spirit on the Solidifying. We have Heron Spirit under Knight of Wands. And under the deck we have Sadness and Regret here. There's a lot of perspective that's coming through in this reading. There's definitely a focus on needing to ascertain with what hope you begin your journey. With maybe, I'm seeing that some of you had hope when you started something. I'm seeing someone had decisions to make based on experiences that would have been solidifying, that may have been work related there. I'm seeing someone had good hope for this job that they went into, and somehow along the way they got burnt by it. They signed up for more than they expected, and it caused a lot of perhaps heartache, burnout. Some people go through midlife crisis through that, where they question the authenticity of what they are. And there we have the King of Cups under the 10 of spirited forces, which is an alchemical symbolic representation of what is within the heart. That spirited energy that must become a pattern, that is potential inside of you, your hope, in other words. It is in your heart. And it is supported by the King of Cups here, which means that the King of Cups is the gentleman that has the heart, has the hope for the heart, and takes his time, whether you're male or female, of course, in what he's going to invest in. There's a lot of fish around his feet. So it's not like he doesn't know. Okay. So it's not like you don't know. You can see what's in front of you. It's not like you can't see it. It's right in front of your feet. You can see it. Sometimes you go somewhere and someone says, hey, this or that on the next, and it turned out to be a favor, a very good one, something you used. Some of you, having had to deal with that nature, having had to deal with that, have maybe forgotten how to look at. Maybe we forgot. Maybe it's normal to forget that we don't see always the little miracles that happen along the way. The Oracle of Light says she takes time to smell the roses and the plants, talk to her along the way. I advise that we do that. That's kudos to you. Within the serpent spirit here, under the solidifying coagulation, there is the nature of the growth. This, in the way that it shows itself in the reading here, depicts that we are looking at an experience that relates to, maybe you can interpret it as the Kundalini thing. For others of you, it can be interpreted as healing and transmutation and growing into where the sun is, because the snake, the serpent on the staff in the sunlight becomes the symbol for the caduceus, which is healing, which is Mercury, which means it comes through in the reading in this way. I look at symbols a lot, because that is how nature alchemically and metaphysically communicate with us. We have the heron spirit here by the Knight of Wands, depicting what you have had to endure to overcome all of these trials and tribulations, to reform, to make this pattern again, to rebuild your pattern, that you had to take the time in really investing in a much deeper nature, deeper future for yourself. And it was in this nature that you had decided to look for a way out, by literally taking time out in your life path, just letting it stand for a few years before you would return back to it again. I could see some of you have done that. And here we are, the outcome, the King of Coins, And there's sadness and regret in the end here, because most likely when you achieve and you go back to making your pattern and it actually becomes something that is of a joyous nature that you will have accomplished once more. You have told the boss that you can't work like a termite to beat yourself to death, but that it takes time for you to set things in place. You took the time out, you took the break. You readjusted the lens with which you looked at your life. And those that have not been able to hold on to your energy anymore will be in sadness and regret, because here you are, King of Coins, stepping out. You've done it. It took you how long? It took you 10 years for some of you to have initiated this idea to set something up. Doesn't matter what it is. It is not for me to know your ideas, but there is the nature in which you are being shown that it took a long time to go towards that which was sustainable to you, which gives you sustainability. And whether it starts inside of you, about thoughts and feelings and emotions and experiences, you still have hope. And I want to say to you, do not lose hope. Do not lose hope, no matter how small or how big your dream is. Do not lose hope, because there are energies around that are coming along with the changes of the age that would try to ascertain your hope, to make you feel hopeless, because we are operating within a state of energetic flux that's essentially reaching a peak. And so it creates a new standard of experience and spiritual development, which is about the self. That which is behind and has felt like they are left behind, feel that the light is moving away from them, so they become en masse a thought form that tries to absorb that energy. So you are being told to have hope, do not lose hope, no matter what you do. And if you feel depressed, do something about it immediately. Okay? Immediately. Because if your heart becomes tapped by that which is in the heavy rafts underneath, trying to reach the energy. I always say it reminds me of zombies. Zombies can't actually climb ladders, so that's a good thing. Stay on the ladder. For the last card that we use to place upon this read, to seal the deal, to sweeten it for you, this is the path of prosperity, the path of your fortune that comes to you. This was the Arcana Veil, and I will speak to you soon. Have a good week.